Yeah, my name is Martin Tesch. I'm the person who made all these wines. We have 10 years under screw cap with this vintage 2014. It was a big sensation 10 years ago when we changed to screw cap. Many people were shocked by this, but for us it was a technical decision because we did not want to have any mistakes in packaging anymore. So today we have 10 years more experience, and the result is we have bottled 1.5 million bottles, and the mistakes were 4. We have 4 people who complained about a bottle. So the result is, from this technical point, excellent. The wines we show you today are all dry Riesling. The Tesch winery is in the Nahe area in Germany, and is totally specialized in dry Riesling wines. And the wine with the orange cap you're tasting now is called St. Remigiusberg, which means in German this is the vineyard of the Bishop of Reims in Champagne. It was a name given to the site in the Middle Ages, and it's volcanic soil. So it's an expressive example, and we will show you all the last 10 vintages. So we will show you the good ones and the better ones. It's, I wish you pleasant tasting. Our stand is 100 meters down the road because I have to leave now. My daughter said that someone's waiting for me. So if there are any questions to the wines after this at our stand. So every questions to the closures will please address to Mr. Decker from Stelvin. And Sebastian Bordthäuser is a specialist for the wines. Thank you.
My name is Hans-Peter Decker of Amcor company. Amcor is one of the world's leading packaging companies. Almost every time you open your fridge, you have some product of us in your hands. In 1964, the BBS closure, the screw cap, has been invented in our plant in Chalon. And nobody knew at that time that this closure will have this tremendous success in the wine branch. 10 years ago, we launched our new product, the Stelvin Lux, and we're very happy to find a winemaker like Martin Tesch to early adopt this new closure for the wine, and especially for the fine wine segment. Stelvin Lux combines premium enhanced aesthetics with the easy opening that you all know from screw cap, and that made for a big part the success of the product. As Mr. Tesch said, there are almost no claims. They're very happy. 4 bottles in 1.5 million bottles, that's really nothing on an industrial standpoint. And Amcor is very happy to support this tasting together with Mr. Bordthäuser, who will make you taste the wines now. Thank you.
Good morning to each and every one of you. In the glass to the left, we have the barrel sample 2014, just for calibration, to get you started, to wake up. 10 years screw cap is, it was hard to find one producer who does it, because every winemaker now and then tried to do it, or just takes it for the entry level, for the base wine. And that's the main problem with the closures. You spend a lot of dedication and a year's hard work to do a real good produce, a good wine. And after bottling, there's no attention anymore for the produce. Then we will do 3 flights, 3 wines. I won't give any aromas or everything. You do this on your own. It's nice to see how good the wines developed under screw cap. And we're talking about aging without oxidation. So we won't have any of the aromas who are widely known or widely regarded as the quality remarks of an aged wine. And you will have a total lack of this. The wines all matured steadily in the cellar, in the vineyard. And you will have a nice example of the characteristic of each and every year. So every year is presented perfectly. You will find that after you've tasted all the wines, that after a couple of years, the primary fruit disappears. I won't tell you when. So there was, if you read about screw caps, there's often a lot of technical fuss about how to do it if you fill in some inert gas in the upper portion of the bottle, which is slightly larger than if you close the bottle with a cork. So you have a higher amount of oxygen on the top of the bottle, which is between 4 to 5 milligrams per liter. So there's more oxygen after bottling in the bottle, but the difference to the cork is there won't be any more oxygen because the
oxygen transmission at all?
no, there is some. It's 0.25 or whatever a year, which is barely nothing compared to the oxygen you will get with a cork. And the main difference is this is a technical product. There's no difference between each and every bottle, but you have these huge variation between each and every cork. If you imagine a row of 10 bottles closed with cork, you will have 10 different results, more or less, or at least 4 or 5. But there's no real data you can gather any further information from. But you can with the closure, because it's highly technical and there's, yeah, it's a different base product. Oh, ausschütten, ja? 13? So we're tasting from left to right. So left is 13, in the middle it's 12, and on the right hand it's 11. So 13, difficult year, cool climate year, high in acidity, nice extracts. So what happens with the oxygen under the screw cap after you bottled it? I think it slightly takes a different idea of winemaking when you decide to close your bottles with a screw cap. First of all, there's no fear of reduction because every wine needs oxygen, gets oxygen in the winemaking process. So that won't harm the produce itself on the bottle while aging. Tesch doesn't use any tricks or inert gas or whatever you might read about is good or what you have to obey if you fill with screw cap. It just fills it, and after the bottling, like 3 to 4 seconds after bottling, which is like a whole generation, biochemically speaking, comes the screw cap, bottle is closed, and that's it. And how the wine develops. We plan to do Königsschild, which is slightly more mineral and more, I think, challenging because it's a very, very harsh is too hard, but this wine generally is regarded more open, more fruity, more accessible to a vast majority of drinkers. And it's nice to see how fruit behaves when you use Stelvin instead of cork. So everybody has every 3 vintages. I think you can clearly tell the characteristics of the 13, the 12, and the 11. Although the 11 is slightly, I think it's the maturest wine in the glass. It's quite far right now, which is, I can't explain it. So what happens under the screw cap with the oxygen? It's quite easy. It's diluted or bound by the free sulfides, the free SO2, and that's pretty much it. It happens within 2 or 3 days, and then there's no further problem with the oxidation while aging, apart from the 0.25 possible oxygen transmission under Stelvin, which here in this case is the high class, the premium Stelvin with the Zinnblättchen. What's tin? Tin. Yeah, with a tin plate within. So this is like barely comes close to nothing, and so the aging of the wine relies pretty much on the 4 to 5 milligrams oxygen a liter, which is locked into the bottle right after bottling. I think what's remarkable is the 09 still has a huge load of primary fruit. I mean, this is a 5-year-old wine, and it's still so fruity on the nose and palate. So there's, yeah, I mean, if you compare with the 11, both very warm and flawless vintages in themselves, but I think 9 clearly shows as the bigger vintage, because, I mean, it's not high in acidity, but there's still acidity and there's still the fruit on top. So I think this is also a feature of the screw cap, because in a regular or corked wine you won't find that primary fruit that stable for such a long time. Yeah, and there's neither notes of aging or reduction. It's just young, vibrant, and precise. And pretty much reflects the 09 vintage in Germany, which was quite good. Yeah, there was no hail, there was, while the blooming, there was no rain in the harvest, there were like proper 120 days of sunshine. It was like easy for the winemakers to do the 09 vintage. I think pretty much across Germany. And the 8, cool climate again, high in acidity, shows nicely. Less fruit, and I think we can easily sense the break between the 9 and the 8. It's lower in, there's no primary fruit left, not none, but there I think there's a traceable gap when it comes to fruit. So it's like 5 to 6 years that the primary fruit keeps under Stelvin, and then this secondary aging or maturity with the secondary aromas begins.
I think this is also because 2009 was a good vintage.
Yeah.
When you take this out, you can see actually, there is a curve down,
Yeah.
But
If you go back from the 8 to the 10,
The 2009 just gives it a higher break.
Yeah.
A larger break.
Yeah.
Because it was a good vintage.
In the German language it's called Steilvorlage. Gibt es das auf Englisch?
Das machen wir nicht auf Englisch.
Okay.
Expectations are high.
Yeah, you can easily see the break with the primary fruit if you go back from the 8 and have a sip of the 10 again. I think will be very, very interesting. We're having 07, 06 and 05. 07, 05 again. The 06 is embraced by 2 very warm and good vintages. The 06 was, I think, the most challenging vintage within the last 10 years in Germany. A lot of rain while harvesting, a lot of botrytis, very, very low yields. So you really had to separate 2/3 of botrytis from 1/3 of healthy grapes who had to be harvested in a rush within 2 rainfalls. 06, the next wine in the middle. So the most difficult one, and I think you can easily tell this from the nose and the palate.
Der Platz ist, glaube ich, freigegeben.
07, like 09, a dream year. sunshine, 120 days, pure sunshine. No hail while blossoming, no rain during harvest, no botrytis. Perfect year to learn golf or enhance your hunting skills. Rich, opulent nose, but compared to the 9, primary fruit is gone. So we are on the secondary aromas. And again, nicely conserved the characteristic of the vintage on the bottle. 06, difficult. And 05, I think, is an example of a general German trend in the early 2000s, 2003, 4 and 5, following up the year 2003 was too hot all around the world. The general opinion at that time was that high sugar levels or full maturity bring the better wines. The stylistic in the house Tesch changed because he found out that the higher the sugar, the more opulent and rich the wine gets. And you get these examples of like a tasting wine you do in professional tastings where you just have one nose and one sip and say, "There, the most taste the best." But that's not the point. He started to harvest earlier to get the terroir, the 5 single vineyards, separate, to work out the characteristics more precise. That works better with a lower sugar, like 80, no, not 80, 92 Oxlow, whatever, instead of 98. So slimness or freshness in this way pretty much supports the idea of the terroir in the single vineyards.
Did you change the style at the end of 2005 or during 2006, seeing it's going to be a difficult vintage?
I think
maybe one of the reasons.
For the reasons, you better ask him when or why he did it, because I think after 6 there was no. It's not a decision. You're barely happy to be alive and to get your grapes picked. Yeah, but if you compare again 5 to 7, I mean 5 almost seems sweet to me because of the high extracts and the phenolic structure. Yeah.
You compare the 7 seems the drier version of the 5.
Yeah, absolutely.
You have the rightness of the fruit.
Yeah.
And it's a nice acidity, a very nice balance.
Yeah.
And the 5 is just.
And
it's a dish. It's not a wine.
Every wine you were tasting, this noon was 12 or 12.5 alcohol. Even the 2005, which seems to be sweeter. It's not due to alcohol, and it's also not due to sugar, because the Tesch claims to do dry German Riesling and always did. So we are between like 4 and 5 residual sugar in the wine.
Okay.
Yeah, I think 6 easily shows that this was a ordinary, no, like a catastrophal vintage. Good cork can be as close as a good screw cap, but that's really good cork. And who gets these corks? Chateau Ausson, Chateau Lafite maybe. But that, I think, as a general solution for wines, like base wines, but in my opinion also for the top wines, because you spend so much effort in producing the wines, yeah, and you're doing your basic wines with a screw cap, and the top wine where you got the lowest yields, the lowest liters. There's again the risk of of ruining.
Choice. It's a pragmatic approach.
It's an absolute pragmatic approach. Yeah, you might call it German, but I mean, there's so much effort and concentration on doing the wine, and that basically ended after bottling. And I think this is the point where it comes to when we talk about quality, the maturing, the aging of wine. and how long it lasts, apart from the easy drinking qualities. Yeah, I mean, this is not like a Premier Grand Cru or whatever. This is a single vineyard wine, which shows to, yeah,
It's a
to
Premier
have.
Cru. It's a Premier Cru.
In a way, yeah, it used to be, concerning to which classification you are referring to. Yeah. So, 10 years screw cap. No reduction, no oxidation. I think we had a nice overview over the last 10 vintages in Germany, and which, in my opinion, came out pretty clear in the glass, in the nose, on the palate of the wine, without any interfering aromas of oxidation, neither in nose or palate. Are there any remarks, questions, or?
Do you think
Yes.
2005?
Yes.
For how long? You know, I think this is not the peak yet for the 2005. For 7, I think it's a perfect time to
Yeah.
drink it. For 2005, I personally think that you can keep it 2-3 more years maybe to get it on a higher level, because it's so opulent. What do you think?
Yeah, probably. But then you will have like the secondary and the
Yeah.
aromas
Yeah,
presenting more and more.
but
Yeah.
I think a couple of more years gives this wine. You know, I'm not.
There
talking
are
about
some,
7 is different. Yeah, but 5.
But I also think that 7 can take some more years on the bottle. Absolutely. 7, maybe 9. Absolutely. I mean, 12 was gorgeous in my opinion, because it was absolutely perfectly balanced. You had acidity, concentration, extracts. 14 will be extraordinary, outstanding. It was such a high level of extracts, like 28, 29 dry extract in the wine, which will by itself preserve the wine apart from whichever closure you might choose to preserve it. Yeah. So thank you very much for
Thank you.
having Nahe. Yeah, bitte sehr.